Hello, it's me, Fidiscus Jiskic. Street Fighter 6's big balance patch is coming out tomorrow, and I want to take a look at what I think are the biggest issues the game has, and why I don't think 6's issues can be resolved without a major game overhaul. To that point, I want to reference Street Fighter V's updates. V-Shift was added late in the life cycle of Street Fighter V. V-Shift was an invincible backdash that gave players a new way to defend themselves while expending V-Gauge. This is brilliant on several levels. Players had long lamented that +2 situations were frustrating in 5, thanks to the strength of throws in the priority system. Another point of frustration was the strength of V-Trigger, which could be used to reduce the risk of powerful moves in neutral, add huge amounts of damage to combos, and generally was a less than ideal comeback mechanic. V-Shift gave players a way to escape frustrating +2 situations, while draining the resource necessary to use V-Trigger. Adding V-Shift was an elegant solution to the bulk of Street Fighter V's issues, all at the same time. I don't think that 6 will ever be in a state to make an addition or change that fixes all of the issues in the same way that 5 was able to. I want to take a look at the ways that Street Fighter 6 differs from other Street Fighter games, and what makes it such a difficult game to fix. Let's start with neutral. It's no surprise that the biggest way that Street Fighter 6 differs from other titles is the existence of Drive Rush. Without thinking about it too much, many players may not recognize just how big of a departure from previous Street Fighters a mechanic like Drive Rush is. In Street Fighter 2 and Alpha, there are no dash mechanics at all. In order to threaten a space or punish a move, you need to walk or jump. Movement was not generally difficult to react to. Starting in Street Fighter 3, dashes were added, which were bursts of movement much more difficult to react to than simply walking, but were still a considerable number of frames to commit to without being able to act. Street Fighter 6's Drive Rush is a burst of forward momentum that is actionable. For the Drive Rush user, that means you can quickly move into your opponent's space and immediately threaten them, and you can whiff punish from a much further distance. Even if you don't actually punish your opponent, Drive Rush rewards you with 4 additional frames of advantage. Checking Drive Rush places a substantial mental load on the defender, and strong buttons for checking Drive Rush also lose to Drive Impact, another mental load placed on the stack. Drive Impact does have a place in the discussion of why it's so difficult to create an ideal Street Fighter 6, but for the most part, it's easier to ignore for now. Instead, I'll go to the biggest boogeyman in Street Fighter 6, throw loops. And when I say throw loops, I mean drive parry. Drive parry is, without a doubt, the worst mechanic ever introduced to any Street Fighter. Even without perfect parry, drive parry's effect on the game is such a significant negative, I don't think the game could be fixed without overhauling the system entirely. Drive parry is essentially EX guarding. Anytime you're blocking, you would prefer to be parrying, except for the fact that you're punished harder by throws. But parry beats all other forms of offense in Street Fighter. Anytime your offense in Street Fighter 6 does not include a throw threat, you actually don't have offense at all because it could simply be parried. And herein lies the issue with throw loops. If you could not threaten a throw after a throw, your opponent could simply parry and beat every option. You would truly have to return to neutral, which is racked by Drive Rush. You would end up playing a Street Fighter game where the footsies and spacing are worse and less important than ever, and it's impossible to establish offense. It would just be a worse version of every other Street Fighter, and I think to a large degree it already is. I have no joy in my heart when I say this. The presentation of Street Fighter 6 is incredible. The character choices are impeccable, the redesigns are solid, the music gets a lot of hate, but it's substantially better than 4's at the very least. I love Street Fighter, and I want to enjoy Street Fighter 6. It's definitely unique, but the results of its unique designs have a lot of problems that I can't imagine solutions to. The patch comes out tomorrow, so there's no time for me to go into how the frame data in 6 makes it impossible to establish offense without Drive Rush, making the flawed system into a load-bearing one. Nor can I address how Drive Rush cancels make adjusting reward off of certain tools impossible. I can only release this video now and hope that I'm wrong. I got a lot more things in the works, so I hope you can all be patient with me while I try to establish some sort of editing and upload schedule. This one is going to be pretty bare bones, but I wanted to get it out before the patch, which really snuck up on me. Thank you all, and good luck.